everybody to Key Stage 2 literacy lesson. Today you will need paper, a pencil or a pen and lots of imagination. It's also important to remember to pause the video to give yourself enough time to write all of your own examples down so that you can practice it. Let's start with a quick starter. There's 3 sentences. The tree was big, it was covered in moss, there were leaves on the ground. Too many simple sentences, but how can I improve my writing? Now at this stage, have a think about those 3 sentences. What would you do to make them better? I'm going to show you what I've done to make them better. The first thing I can do is I can add a conjunction in my writing. The tree was big and it was covered in moss, but there were leaves on the ground. I can also add detail, like figurative language. Have a think back to when we were in class and we spoke about similes and personification. Can you spot where they are? And I've also used adjectives. My example, the peculiar tree, as tall as a skyscraper, covered in thick moss, stood amongst a bed of rotten leaves. Can the tree stand? No, it can't. So therefore, it is personification. And where we have as tall as a skyscraper, that is our simile. So I've added a conjunction, but I can also add detail. The third thing I'm going to try today is I'm going to make sure I've used an adverb. Now what does adverbs do? Let's think back to when we were in class. It adds to a verb. It tells me how something happens or where it might be happening. In the middle of the forest, there's my fronted adverbial, a peculiar tree stood motionless. So it gives me a little bit more information about how it was standing. So have a think about your 3 sentences. Which one of these 3 did you use to make your sentences better? We have a lovely picture today. Not just any picture. This picture takes place in a forest. What can you see? I'll tell you what I can see. I can see a massive tree. I can see lots of autumnal leaves all scattered across the forest floor. I can see these skeleton trees reaching all the way high up. I can also see a very peculiar thing in the corner of the picture. Is that a dog's house? And is that a dog poking out of the house? But it looks like there's another one on the picture. What can you see? At this stage, pause the video and try and write down all the nouns, the things that you might see, the things you might hear, things you might smell in this setting. And there's a few questions that's going to make our imagination go wild. Why does Toby live at the foot of a tree? Who else lives there with Toby? What do you think it's like living in a forest or living at the foot of a tree? What do these dogs get up to? And where are their owners? Couldn't help but think of the same thing. So have a go at this moment and think, what might be the answers to these questions? You might get some of the answers in your picture, but really delve deep into your imagination and pause the video at this stage and jot down those answers. Now I'm up for a challenge. Are you up for a challenge? Today we are going to write a sentence, but not just any sentence. We are going to have a go using 2 adjectives before our noun. So have a think about what is a noun. Some something you can see, something you can smell, hear. And I'm going to describe it using two adjectives. But what must I not forget? My comma between my two adjectives. So it's a list. At this stage, I'm going to show you mine, and I'll let you have a go doing yours. My turn. He placed a large muddy paw on the mysterious torn letter underneath the pile of leaves. So although I couldn't see the letter in the picture, I think my imagination thinks there might be a letter. Not just any letter, a mysterious torn letter. At this stage, if you pause the video, have a think about that picture. Do you want to write two adjectives in front of paw? Do you want to do two adjectives in front of tree or leaves? Whatever you can see back when we had our picture. I'll show you the picture again. There's the picture. Do you want to describe anything that you can see or hear or smell using your two adjectives? Well done for having a go writing your sentence. Keep it, because you might want to use it in your own story. Now, my story is called Toby the Courageous Dog. What might your story be called? At this stage, if you want to, start jotting down some ideas for the name of your story. If you want to come back at the end, that's fine as well. My turn. In the middle of the mysterious forest, a peculiar tree, as tall as a skyscraper, covered in a thick layer of moss, stood motionless on a bed of rotten leaves. Suddenly, a cacophony of barking broke the silence. At the foot of a tree, Toby, the courageous dog, poked his large, smelly head out of his front door and sniffed vigorously. He loved the smell of the forest, especially first thing in the morning. But this morning was different. Why might they be barking? In the distance, a rustling noise edged closer and closer. One of the others was awake. You see, Toby wasn't the only dog that lived in the forest. Now have a think about the things I've mentioned about what makes our writing great. What's going to get us 2 thumbs up? Oh, if I use different sentence openers. In the distance. Suddenly. If I use adjectives. Not just any forest. A mysterious one. Not just any tree. A peculiar one. And not just any leaves, but rotten leaves. So have a think. All the good things I've done. And then at the end I also had an adverb, didn't I? So I used the word vigorously to show how Toby sniffed. So you can maybe think of your own ly or any other adverb you might want to use. Now as we're thinking about our adventure and Toby's adventure, there might be different things going through my mind. I might be thinking, what is this mystery all about? I might be thinking, why did the dogs bark? And I must also be thinking, what will happen to Toby at the end of my story? So these might just be a few questions going through your head as you're thinking about your own story and your own ending. But remember the top tip. Try to fool the reader so that it's a very unexpected ending, something that the reader didn't think of. Let's go back to what our focus is for today. We're going to make sure that we write an exciting ending with all of the different things that we had at the very beginning. We're going to make sure we have lots of different adjectives today because that gets our reader really intrigued. We're going to make sure we have some conjunctions to link or extend my ideas. I'm definitely going to start my sentences in different ways. And I'm going to make sure that I have powerful verbs to build in that excitement. And who's up for a challenge? I'm going to make sure I've used adverbs. How did Toby do things, or where did he do it? So those are going to help me to get the adverbs in my writing. And if you finish writing your story, you can upload your story onto Purple Mash or keep hold of it so when you come back you can share Toby's adventure with the rest of the class. Don't forget to pause all the way through if you feel it's too quick and you need to write your story. Thank you for watching.